Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PUBG Mobile Star Challenge. This is an honor for me to present you the first ever PUBG Mobile event in Europe. We expect a lot of PUBG Mobile action during these 2 days, so let me briefly tell you about this event. So, 16 invited celebrities and their teams will fight for 2 tickets to PUBG Mobile Star Challenge Global Final, which will be held in Dubai. But we expect not only the fights on the battlefield, but also we prepared some interesting and maybe even extreme challenges for them. And also have a lot of interesting upcoming for you guys. PUBG Mobile Star Challenge with title sponsor Samsung Galaxy Note 9. And you can also download PUBG Mobile at Galaxy Apps. So our analysts will tell you much more about the event and about all the teams. So over to you, James.
That's right, thank you very much, Tonya. Welcome to the analysis desk here for the Star Challenge Europe as we're about to get into things for the finals. We have 16 teams from all across Europe converging here on Kiev, and we are going to find out exactly which teams are going to be moving on to that final later on down the line here for the Star Challenge. Joining me, my name is Kyle Laris, of course, as your host, blah, 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 nobody cares about me. Joining me, we do have Mr. Porosaurus and we have Mustache Jave. Gentlemen, looking at how we have the tournament shaping up, excited to be here. It's going to be good.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're obviously used to seeing more of the competitive on PC. So I'm really excited to see how things are going to play out on the mobile platform. It's a lot of big differences, Dave.
Yeah, and looking at those trophies behind Tanya,
those
first
trophies
place,
are nice,
second
aren't
place,
they?
third place, gold, silver, bronze. I heard those helmets are detachable.
That's right.
So,
yeah, not only do you get a sick trophy, but you can also wear the helmet as well.
And you can wear it on your plane to Dubai.
There you go.
there you go.
Who doesn't want a level 3 helmet replica? A shiny one as well.
Telling you.
There you
That
go.
is
They might
pretty
not
sick.
let you wear it on a plane. Let's be
think?
real. Yeah, it looks a little dangerous.
Does it? I mean,
Maybe,
it's
maybe.
fashionable.
Maybe.
It's fashionable.
He's right. It might be a little bit of a hazard.
A little bit of a
Not wrong.
hazard. Yeah.
A little bit over, a little bit too much.
A little too much.
Just a little too much. Let's check in with the tournament as a whole and get a rundown as to what is going to be going on here today, because we have 16 teams captained by a lot of influencers, some pro players. We even have a weird ginger up to the number 2 as well there we can talk about later on. But guys, we have these 16 teams that are going to be coming in. There's a lot of familiar names there. Who are you guys looking out for coming into this tournament?
I mean, you got to look at team number 11. It's definitely not Fuzzface. But you know, I think I'm always interested to see how these pros that we're used to seeing play in these high pressure situations, how they're going to play here on mobile.
Yeah.
Fuzzface obviously playing with Fake and Resu, and is his coach there for FaZe, Ayuki, who told me his name is Ayuki, even though I've always heard it pronounced Loot. He told me it was Ayuki. I don't know if he's trolling me at this point. I'm not sure. But who are you looking at, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of options in front of us right now, but I already know who's going to win this tournament, at least second or first.
Okay.
All right? Hyro, Team Hyro. That's Chris, Dosh, and Ericon. That's my easy pick. If you guys had to ask me today, I'm going to say the same answer all tournament long. First place or second place.
You seem pretty confident in that. What are your reasons
I'm
for
confident. I'm
I
confident.
feel like you got some
Insider, yeah.
information here.
Insider. Well, I heard about the scrims that happened yesterday.
Okay.
2 scrims.
Yes.
They won both games. 20 kills each game.
Wow.
Easy in the bag. So,
Look, I mean, I've gotten 20 kills in PUBG Mobile before, but I think it was at the very beginning with the bots.
Okay.
So I guess
When it makes you feel good
I
to
shouldn't
start
feel.
off.
Yeah, it makes you feel. It makes you feel like you're a badass. But
Yeah.
no, this time, I mean, obviously, you going into these games, you're not playing against bots anymore.
Yeah.
These are real players with real skill, and it's going to be interesting. So you're picking Hyro, Team
tournament.
Hyro. I'm keeping an eye on Fuzzface, but there's definitely a few other teams in here that we need to look at as well.
Absolutely, and we'll get a chance to highlight a lot of those later on down the line. We can take a look at how the points are going to be shaping up as well here, because all importantly are the points that you're going to be able to bag in PUBG. And unlike some of our PC tournaments that we've had going on, actually, some of the later placements are very, very lenient here compared to what we've seen in our PC tournaments.
That's true. I mean, you look at first place, obviously a huge point advantage over second place, and then it kind of goes down from there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
The 20 points per kill as well, you know, if you're looking at just top 3, you know, I think that even going into tomorrow late, we'll still have some teams that have designs on making third place
Sure.
and maybe even first place.
Yeah, and looking at the kills, 20 points per kill. Like I mentioned, we got some teams that frag out here. I mean, they're going to get these placement points with just kills alone. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out later on, and if we're going to see a tournament where it's top heavy with this leaderboard.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a divide in some of the qualifiers for North America, of course, coming into their finals later on down the line, and we did see some teams that were able to just really rack up huge kills and other teams which didn't do so well. I think one thing that's important about the points, and you can disagree with me if you want, is that even if you do get kind of down towards the lower end for day number 1, at least you're bagging some points to potentially make a recovery tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you always are in the fight. I mean, the only way it's going to start getting weird is if you start having maybe one team that constantly just win after win after win, and they start building up that huge point total. At which point, who knows what'll happen? But I think that this in the mobile setting, you're a lot more likely to see teams send it a little bit if they might not be doing good. Maybe do a little hot drop in. What do you think?
Well, probably tomorrow, right? We'll see the hot drop in today. I feel like it's going to be more or less teams dropping and just not knowing who's dropping near them. Because, like I said, we had a couple scrim games. But, I mean, that's when teams are practicing. Maybe they're going to drop somewhere different after learning from a scrim game. So I think day 1, we're going to find out where everybody's going to be dropping, where they're comfortable to drop. And I'm actually kind of going to disagree with you a little bit. I think after today, we'll see who's going to be in the lead tomorrow. The true, like who to look for tomorrow. I think after today's games, we might actually have a good idea.
Well, let's take a look at today's schedule. So make sure we have all the games prepared for you and good to go, because not only do we have our 5 matches that are going to be going down for the tournament itself, but we also have a show match later on as well. So our matches for the tournament are going to be played in Erangel, and our show match we're going to be playing on the new map for mobile, of course. It's going to be Sandhawk, which we've had plenty of experience with PC, so that's all nice. Tomorrow for day number 2, we're starting with the show match. We're shaking things up a little bit, and then we're going to be moving on to our Erangel matches for the rest of the tournament. Now, there is a slight surprise later on for the show match, which we're not going to talk about it just yet.
No leaks.
We're going to allude to it.
No leaks.
I'm worried. And that's all I'll say.
We're all worried.
We're a little bit worried. But, you know, just rest assured, stay tuned for the show match. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be great. But you know, we still got 5 matches before that even happens. Before it's a way to we kind of figure out who's going to start stepping away. Do you think we'll see any one team win multiple games?
Well, before we do get onto that, of course, we do have one team that in particular that we want to focus on to begin things. So let's take a closer, magnified look at Lenin IV.
Всем привет, меня зовут Костя Сивко, играю под никнеймом Ленин и занимаюсь профессиональным комментированием шутеров. Я из города Каменец, это в Брестской области, в Республике Беларусь. На этот чемпионат я приехал вместе с командой, чтобы войти в топ-2, заполучить слот в Дубае, дойти настолько далеко, насколько это возможно. Моя команда называется Ленин Squad. Все 3 участника моей команды — это мои хорошие знакомые, которые прекрасно владеют компьютерными играми, в частности данной дисциплиной. Это Олег Литвиненко, которого я знаю уже несколько лет. Он очень много играет в компьютерные игры и просто может раздавать. Это Гомер, он же Александр Лысенко, которого я также очень хотел видеть в своей команде. Он веселый парень, всегда может разрядить атмосферу, что-нибудь вбросить так, чтобы давление не было слишком высоким. Ну и также просто молчаливый парень Александр Богданов, он же Богдас, который просто может раздавать и не задавать лишних вопросов. Самое главное, что мы извлекли из тренировок, не играть по принципу профессиональных команд, потому что мы все-таки не профессионалы, и вряд ли эта дорожка куда-то приведет без серьезных, многодневных и усердных тренировок. Мы расслабимся и будем делать что-то максимально необычное, так, чтобы иметь возможность подняться как можно выше. Я знаю господина Каспера, он же Роман Лепехин. Эй, Каспер, я пришел сюда записать интервью и выиграть твою команду. Интервью уже пишется. Куда потрачу бабки? Не знаю, у меня все есть. Дорогие зрители, фанаты, болельщики, если вам приятно за нас болеть, то обязательно болейте, приходите на официальные трансляции, и мы постараемся показать все, на что способны, а также подарить вам веселье.
A StarLadder rivalry for sure between Mr. Lennivi and Casper, as hopefully we'll get to see those guys go to war. And as you could briefly see there during that, you could see that they were in our studio and we kicked them out. It's our studio now. That's how this goes down. Gentlemen, what do you make of this team and maybe some other teams coming through, but also Lennivi just in general? They're a veteran team of gamers coming into this tournament.
Yeah, and you know, I think that one of the things they talked about was having that experience on mobile, right? I mean, if you're going to call out a team like Casper and the squad that he brought, you're going to have you're going. I mean, let's just say Casper got a few ringers.
Yeah.
If you're gonna call them out early, you better have something to back it up, and it looks like they feel like they do.
Yeah, I like Bogdas Alexander. You saw in the interview, no questions asked. Just goes out there, does his thing. The team captain doesn't even question it. I mean, you have to be doing something right if your team captain's not going to ask any questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's either good instruction, right, or just
instincts, maybe.
Instincts.
PUBG mobile instincts.
It's like there's something to be said for having that player where you just point them in one direction and they go, and they're not going to question. Oh, maybe we should go over here. Maybe we should go over here. No, we're rotating there. Even if he thinks it's a bad decision, just go.
Are you saying he's the bloodhound of the tournament? He's just
let's
send him off.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the team says about him. So, yeah.
Not a bad look.
Bloodhound of the team. I agree with that.
What do you think about some of the other teams? Who are some of your other favorites kind of coming into the tournament as a whole? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously I talked about Fuzzface and his squad, but Casper, you know, we touched on just a little bit here. You know, they're sitting on you got Casper, who's a great player in his own right, but he also went and picked up Keen and 54th from Avangar and Samsa from Tornado Energy Battle. So these are really, really experienced players in the realm of competitive PC PUBG. Now, whether or not that's going to translate super well over to mobile remains to be seen. But I definitely think you got to keep an eye on those guys. What do you think, Dave?
About your guys or my team?
Hey, anybody.
I'm going with my team. All right. Let me give you the breakdown.
Your
guys, I don't really care. I don't really care about your guys'
plural
because I already know who's going to win the tournament. And let me break it down for you guys.
Right.
Eric Horn on Team Hyro. #1 right now on the leaderboards for the season ranks. So that's solos, duos, and squads. And #2 on EU leaderboards. Grinding, you know, so that's one of my reasons why. And then also, that whole squad in general, they play on the Chinese PUBG Mobile, which means they play a patch ahead of the EU Mobile. So they've had a lot of practice here in preparation for this event.
But, you know, you never know. If Team Hyro is running along and all of a sudden they run into the absolute wrecking ball of destructive force and Team Toby Wan.
Oh,
you never know. You never know.
I can't decide if that's an overstatement or.
Look,
we'll find out. That's why we're here. We'll find out.
Right. I think so. But of course, Toby Wan is here with his team as well. A very, again, just some ginger, basically. There's there's only room for a few gingers. Yeah, I don't know. But he is here with his team as well. He did mention that they're not feeling amazingly confident, but
they're not, I mean, you know, they're not maybe not feeling so confident about taking home the big win.
The big one. Yeah.
But they do feel confident in their ability to completely wreck a lobby and cause all types of chaos.
Okay.
Or feed a lobby, depending on how you look at it. The thumb users is what the players call them out there. The thumb users.
They have. We'll just say after talking to Toby Wan, they have multiple strategies for when things inevitably go wrong. But we'll see what strategies they decide to employ here. Whether it's the four corners snaking to the center.
Wow,
or,
I want to see that.
Yeah, you know, they feel like they've got a few ideas of how to counter some of this. So we'll see how it works out.
So before game #1 actually begins here, obviously PUBG Mobile compared to the PC version, which a lot of people are probably very used to out there, there are some big differences coming into the mobile version of the game. So let's kind of talk about, break break down some of those differences that do occur here, Mustache Dave. One thing to me that stands out is actual auto-looting that you can actually utilize going through the game, which makes things very quick and kind of more accessible for the mobile game, I think.
Especially with patch 0.8, right? You can customize it in the settings.
Right.
You can pretty much customize how many bandages you pick up, how many ammunitions, what guns, and all that good stuff. So all you have to do is just run through the place, run over something, it automatically picks up auto-loot. I don't know if I want to see that on PC. I'm going to keep it on mobile for now because you'll have a full backpack full of stuff. But it also swaps out. Say you have a level 1 bag, you run over a level 2 or 3, it automatically swaps it. I mean, talk about easy. That's easy right there.
Sure.
Yeah, that's definitely easy mode. But look, there's also things that are different with mobile as far as the aiming goes, right? We talked a little bit about the how it employs not only the thumbsticks but also the gyroscope in the actual phone, so that when you're trying to aim, you can actually use the tilt from the phone to actually center in a little bit. So some players will use this overall, but then they'll also use this on ADS specifically with like an 8x scope, just to kind of make those small minor adjustments to land on a head. So it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, makes sense. I think, you know, when you're actually playing on the mobile, you scope in with the little scope button. Then sometimes it can be a little bit of a chore if you play this way to try and drag around where you want to be aiming. But if you have that option available to you, Dave, it's really cool.
We actually spoke to a couple players talking about the gyro. You know, people kind of think, oh, you have to do this to move around. You know, you can still swipe and then do that along with it. So that's kind of one of the main kind of strategies when it comes to using the phone. You got the gyro with the thumbs, right? And then you have the claw, which I find interesting. That's the claw grip, which actually I know I'm going to keep talking about. Hiro, he plays on tablet. He uses 3 fingers. So I'm going to call that the spider. He uses spider. So now he's back down to the claw, though, on the phone.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, using 4 fingers. I don't know if there's an advantage or not. We'll find out.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how it plays out in the tournament. And talk to me as well about the roaming point of interest here on Erangel, because if you're a PC player, you are not familiar with it at all. I discovered it during the North American qualifiers last weekend. It was a treat to discover. Talk to me about what I call Carnival. I'm not sure what name it actually officially has, but I call it Carnival.
Well, hey, look, we're the trendsetters, right? We're the ones that come in here and set. If we say it's officially Carnival, by God, it's Carnival, and I think that's the appropriate name for it. I mean, it basically, whenever you come into spawn, there's a carnival, and you run around the carnival before the plane takes off and drops, and it stays there during the game. It stays in random places across the map. And when you go there, you find flare guns, you find a boat ton of loot, and it ends up in different places. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody decides to do one of these flare gun strategies, draw attention to themselves, get better loot that way. I don't know. What do you think?
I think so. I think if they're not going to hunt for the flare guns, but if they pick it up, they're not going to hesitate to use it.
Sure.
Because you get all that loot, all that sweet loot. You were actually mentioning you found a flare gun back to back, and you still popped it up in the air in your public games.
Yes.
Are we going to see that here though? That's because 1 flare gun, if you get away with it, okay. But 2 back to back. That might be drawing a lot of attention to you.
Also, what's important is depending on where you actually pop it, you sometimes get an armored UAS as well. If you're outside of the circle or outside of the circle that's going to be moving. So there is that potential coming in if people see the need for it, which is kind of cool. But as you say, it draws a lot of attention. And I think in a game like this, with people that are going to be quite competitive today throughout the days.
But still, though, I mean, there are. It is worth dropping or going to a crate. It is worth finding those high-tier weapons, especially. I mean, I feel like an M249 on mobile is probably just the god gun, right? I mean, it's although you know, some people they say, like, you know, is it worth doing full auto on mobile, or is it better to just do the constant tapping, because
Depends on the
gun.
Maybe with
gyro.
gyro.
You do have a little bit of aim assist there, right?
Yeah.
That can be turned off, but why would you? I mean, there's no point. So I think we'll see a lot of tapping here. But as far as like snipers go, I mean, everybody's pretty much kind of confirmed this. You know, you need a scope, and once you get a scope, you're just kind of on a whole other level than everybody else. So I mean, I think we'll definitely see people going for these crates.
Well, I'm sure that we can talk a lot about it. We've got a ton of time to do so. We're actually just going to go to a short break here before we go to our first game, so everybody can get set up and ready for the first game in as best conditions as possible. So join us after the break here for the Star Challenge EU, as we will be right back.
The new Galaxy Note 9 has more power than you need. Like a remote control for a phone. Why would you... Oh, that's why. The new Galaxy Note 9. It's got more power than you need, until you need it.
Play PUBG Mobile for free. Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to the Star Challenge EU, as we're just getting it game number 1 slowly underway here. But whilst we do, of course, on the analysis desk here, I do have Mr. Porro and I have Dave. Gentlemen, we have still a lot to talk about that I want to discuss, of course. I want to discuss, firstly, differences in guns, difference in kind of the mechanics that do come along with guns, gun control, etc. Because we've got an opportunity to play a few games. Some recoil is different compared to things like on PC. Some gun mechanics in general are very different. So talk to me about some of these topics.
Well, like you're saying, recoil is almost non-existent in the mobile version, which is why we were saying, you know, that the tapping strategy works so well. But I know this is something near and dear to your heart, and we saw it playing out in the scrims a little bit. The VSS. It's almost like a god to your gun.
Yeah, yeah. As far as snipers go and as concealing your position, right? But that's not why you're saying it. You're saying it because
You've always loved the VSS.
I've loved it for PC, but here on mobile, if I see it, I make sure to pick it up. That's my first weapon, and then I maybe get a Groza as my secondary. You know, that's how much I love it. But no recoil pretty much on the bullet. No bullet drop almost, and that's on full auto. You can spray it on full auto. You can see those bullets land. No drop on it, so easy kill.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. And I mean, some of the DMRs also kind of feel in a similar vein. Mini feels kind of that way as well, but the VSS, obviously, it comes with your scope, it comes with your suppressed shots, etc., and things like that. Mini, you have to equip that out. SKS still has its recoil, so you do have to be careful with kind of some of those guns, right?
Yeah, to an extent, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you do have the aim assist on, and most of these guys do, like we were saying, and versus, you know, doing the single tap versus doing the full spray down, at least from the guys that we were talking to out there, it seems like the general consensus seems to be it's better to just do the tapping than to actually commit to a full spray. Now, I don't know, we were playing a little bit last night.
Yeah.
What was the impression that you got?
As far as
Like
tapping or spraying?
tapping versus spraying.
I think spraying comes to play when you're up close and personal.
Yeah.
Breaching a building, just turn on the spray,
Yeah.
the auto, run in there, pressing the button, and you got like 3 kills. And then, you know, from mid-range to long range, definitely tapping, definitely.
Yeah.
Fair play, fair play. Let's talk about some of the teams then as well.
Okay.
And in terms of what you guys have been able to extrapolate, because you guys have had an opportunity to talk to some of these teams, see how they've been able to prepare, how their kind of thoughts are coming into the tournament. Dave, I'm going to start with you. How have you spoken to them and got from them, basically?
All right, so I already know. Hyro, you're going to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
But if there was one team in particular to give them a run for the money, Torty, they kind of play in the scrims together. And I've spoken to both teams, and they both said, they actually pointed because they were across from each other, across the state. They said, that's our competition right over there. So I'm going to pay attention to that. It's going to be some fierce competition. When it comes to the mid-range, the leaderboard, I'm going to say Raptor to Raptor because I know him personally. He went and scouted out the best players that YouTube had to offer. That's what he said. He went on YouTube, you know, asked, inquired, and pretty much picked up his roster like that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, talking to them, they seem really excited about not only being here, but at the opportunity to maybe get in that top spot and maybe head to Dubai for these finals.
Yeah.
I mean, they really like their chances and they were really feeling confident, but they're also feeling, you know, loose and not stressed and not too overwhelmingly. You know, it's definitely a different vibe. Is what I'm going to go for here. You can tell that they want to win, but they're also going into this to have a lot of fun. And I think we'll see that play out.
Yeah, that vibe kind of does resonate when I'm walking through, seeing how the players are kind of interacting with one another. It does seem like they're here to really enjoy themselves, but then also at the very end, there's a lot of potential money on the line, Dave.
Yeah. I mean, here, I think top 3, they get money, they get those trophies, but the main objective, top 2, so you get on that nice plane to Dubai for that $600,000 USD dollars.
$600K.
And that's a large prize. That's even bigger than most of these PC tournaments have to offer. So I'm rethinking. Yeah, I'm rethinking. I should go to mobile. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, first and second place are going to be extremely important going into tomorrow. We're going to have to pay attention to that.
I feel like anybody going to Dubai has an opportunity to go, like, obviously you're skydiving from the plane. Yeah. You could literally go up the Burj Khalifa and probably skydive from similar height, and that's what you would be doing at that point.
I will be on the ground holding my Samsung Galaxy Note 9 videoing you doing that because I'm not going to do that.
You volunteered.
You volunteered. You said you're going to base jump off the Burj Khalifa.
Fully enough, I did have a friend that did that, and they videoed it. And you can see over the bay as you're doing it, and apparently it's a really good time. I'm not doing it though.
Insane.
You have to do it now. I mean,
Absolutely
the chat, put ones in the chat if you want them to do it.
I don't even know if I'm going. What's this? This is a conspiracy. Anyway, beyond that, obviously, you know, people like Raptor, you know, previously known on PC as was on Method for a little while, and then eventually went over to Tiger Mafia, where I think he kind of had more residency than Method. Looking at these PC players, as they are kind of professional players, how do you think they are going to be able to adapt to mobile? Because it is a far different beast, I think.
It is, but I mean, at the end of the day, you still need to. I mean, you still need to get vehicles. You still need to transition into Circle in a decent amount of time, right? You still need to find these spots that you can hold safely by either building a car fort or by just kind of building a fort for yourself. So, I mean, I think a lot of the same strategy elements are there. But, you know, at the end of the day, like you're saying, through scrims, it's kills. Kills are king. And, you know, you can get placement and get up there high, but if you finish in, you know, 4th place with 0 kills, you're going to get passed.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we are almost ready for game number 1 here.
Beautiful.
The drop is about to begin. We're going to be going on to Erangel for our first match here, brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Note 9, and we are going to have a plane going straight through the middle. Gentlemen, talk to me about these drops.
Oh, that is what you like to see in this first game. Anywhere on the map is available. I know we have a lot of teams that like to go to George, so it's going to be interesting to see who goes there.
Yeah, North George in particular, very heavy with that loot, so I'm wondering if we're going to have a couple squads kind of duke it out there, as we already see a couple teams actually parachuting in that direction, right, gentlemen?
Looks like we might have one or two teams fighting against Stinky and Pachinki as well. So let's see if anybody goes to military or Milta. But it looks like right now North George might be a hot spot.
Interesting, because in the North American qualifiers, we had nobody dropping in Pachinki for a long, long time.
Really?
So yeah, like the entire first day, nobody dropped there. So it's good to see someone already.
Nobody
going.
at all.
Yeah. Nobody.
That's free loot right
there.
there.
There is no meta for this right now.
We're making the meta.
We're making the meta
right now. This is the meta.
Other thoughts on drops, boys, as we look at this?
Yep, it looks like we got a couple of people going to Yaz. Team 15 going to have the entire side of Lipovka to themselves, but it looks like we should see some early scrapping here, some early fighting.
Toby won in Primorsk with his team over there, so we'll have to
they're safe.
keep an eye on that. Yeah, no one dropped by them, so that's good. You know, great start.
And as that playing goes, obviously, it being through the center, this is going to give a good opportunity for people, wherever the circle may pop, to actually try and rotate, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, you still need to get a hold of those vehicles early on like you would normally do that. And there's your circle all the way off to the east.
Good opportunity for a lot of those teams in the east already to establish themselves. But thank you very much, gentlemen. We are heading over to the commentary team for game number 1 here of the Star Challenge EU.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Cameron Davis, and I am joined by none other than the man, Froz himself.
Hey!
For your in-game commentary. And right now, it was already kind of pointed out on the drop, but there are a couple of groups going over to George.
Yeah.
We saw this happen a little bit in the scrims. There were a couple of teams kind of fighting around that area, but was just given a little passover around a bunch of other locations as well. You can see Casper's team here in the middle of Razak.
I mean, we saw a lot of teams, as you said, dropping towards George area, both south and north. So hopefully we'll see some early action coming on straight away.
Yeah.
Seeing them fighting together against each other. Also, like, all these teams have their influencer as the first in the name there. So it's easier to actually identify which team it is.
Yeah, like you can see here, we got Rammus's entire squad here chilling out. And Razak Suntouch, him and his teammates are over here onto good old Lippy, good old Lipovka.
So which team is your favorite team coming into this?
Oof. I mean, like, knowing my background, I kind of like have to just default onto Fuzzface. Like, that's
really?
just, yeah, I don't know. But I will say I'm gonna chime in with Dave here. What we saw with the scrims and everything, Hero's looking like a huge force.
So you're going with Dave's safe bet there. I don't know. I kind of, I want to see Fuzzface as well.
Yeah. No, there are a number of players in this lobby that we haven't really had a chance to see how they're going to perform, especially on a best of 10 series. And so no one really knows how good everyone else is compared to each other. Yeah. But I think it's pretty safe to say that Hero especially is like the favorite coming in, but there are certainly a lot of wild cards happening.
Look at this shortage on Fuzzface team. FF, friendly fire. Let's hope they don't shoot each other.
Or what, /FF for surrender. Maybe that too.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't do that.
They should be fine. Yeah, not a lot of early action this time around. So it looks like the scrims were actually useful for a lot of teams to figure out where they can go, where they can drop that is safe. We did see some action earlier in with Torty and I believe Hero's team fighting out for this area of South Georgia, and I think Torty was able to successfully grab that for themselves before the games have started. Because right now it's just a whole bunch of looting, not a lot of fighting. But that's the nature of it is for PUBG. The very beginning, you want to grab that loot. You want to get that firepower. I say that, though, because Raptor's squad, a couple of players.
Yeah.
Coming in as Naya area, wrapping around the eastern side up against Mithrain. It doesn't look like they want to go super aggressive, though. It looks like they're actually on a rotational maneuver now. Just trying to get out of the city without running into a fight, maybe grab a vehicle and get closer towards the circle, because we did see the circle in the very beginning. It was on the east coast.
Yeah, southeast coast. But Yasnaya is big enough for 2 teams, so it shouldn't be any problem for them to just loot their stuff and then get out of there without fighting each other. I think most of the teams that will just try to take it easy the first games, feel the game a little bit, because even though you did have the scrims before, it's not the same thing scrimming as playing a competitive game. So they want to just have a time for himself, feel out what's going on, how everybody's going to play, because the teams does play the game differently from the scrims compared to a competitive game, at least on the PC version.
Yeah. it's safe to say for mobile as well, just because, as you mentioned, it's all about kind of testing the waters. You can't take anything for granted coming from scrims to the actual game. You never know if actually a team is going to be employing a strategy that's just a bait, but there is a fight breaking out between Raptor and mid-range squads. Ooh. SLTV taking a bit of damage, but not without returning some onto Revy. But SL is going to retreat away, trying to find a little bit more hard cover while the teammates come and assist him on that. You can see them in mid-map in the top right.
And we are playing third person, so
yes,
even if SLTV there, or is that mid-frame? No.
That could be Mr. Mithrain himself.
Yeah, so even if he's prone there, he's going to actually be seeing over the booth there and know what's going to happen. He's going to see if anyone's pushing him. And I think they're just, they're trying to not engage here. They know each other, poked a little bit, and like, yeah, let's not take this fight right now. Let's move on, and we'll take this fight later.
Yeah, I mean, good initial damage. I don't know who started that fight first, whether it was Revy or Mithrain, but good trades back and forth, but a nice call for both teams, especially Raptor, to just disengage from this because it's the very early game. Not a single person has died yet, and so to do a full commit on a fight that there's still a minimum 30% chance, if not a straight 50% chance of you losing, it's not that valuable of a commitment this early on in the game.
So North George, Fuzzface and his team, they got it for themselves. Oh, Fuzzface 9000. That's a nice nickname you got. Now, this is interesting. They're going 4 people in one vehicle, or they're just... I don't know. What are they doing?
I don't know.
They have the US there.
They could, they could double up. But so we have seen this in other mobile tournaments, is riding all 4 in one vehicle, which at first glance may seem to be even more of a risk because I suspect that the HP of mobile vehicles is a lot lower than on PC.
Yeah.
However, they mentioned this on the desk, spraying versus tapping. Tracking a moving target while spraying is actually incredibly difficult.
Yeah, but the thing is that this is squad, so you have 4 players that can do it at the same time, though. So
true. Yeah, absolutely. But as long as you're aware of who you're rotating through and you have your rotational paths on point, it's not as big of a risk. It's still certainly a risk, but it's not as big of a risk as we see it on PC. And, I mean, Torty seems to be comfortable with it.
Here we go.
Put it to the test. Mazzarini taking some sprays on the DP, but didn't really land any shots on anyone from Torty. I can't see the vehicle of the health of the vehicle, but it looks to be fine.
No
Not
smoke
much damage
so far.
there. Yeah, exactly. So we should be okay.
So one thing I actually got to know yesterday when playing the game a bit is that it's kind of hard to flip the vehicles. Some people know that I'm pretty good at that. But PUBG Mobile might be something.
You did at least do it once.
Yeah, I did actually do it. I thought we were not going to talk about that.
you brought up your ability to flip vehicles, and it's so good that he's even figured out a way to flip vehicles on mobile, which is I will double up on that. It is actually quite difficult to do.
It's
almost like there's a magnet between the vehicle and the ground where it just keeps you stuck to the ground.
I mean, just unlucky. So we see a new red zone coming up as well. That is something we're not used to when we do see the PC PUBG red zone. Now, we do have it throughout this tournament. It's going to be interesting to see because I want to see someone get knocked and finished by the red zone.
I would love to see that too. We'll see if that ends up happening. The red zone, it can be a little chaotic, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but whenever I end up in the red zone, I just play as normal.
Well, the thing is, I don't play that much public games, so I don't actually end up in the red zone.
Yeah, that's, okay. All right, sure. Sure.
But I mean, now we talked about 4 people in one vehicle. What if they rotate in the red zone?
Yeah, that's the definition of unlucky, though, isn't it? Yeah. That's a bit yikes there. So we got a Harrow's team here, only team on the Sosnovka military island, looting up Novo, and this Novo is in this circle, so he doesn't need to rotate just yet. However, unless he gets hard shifted on like 5 times in a row, him and the rest of his team, they're gonna have to cross that water eventually. So we may see when they decide to do that. They are probably gonna wait out this first circle on their side and wait for the second circle to appear before they make their rotate. But it's rotate city right now. Damien and his team all hanging out, just trying to. I guess they're comfortable with this shack right now, or at least 2 of them.
Yeah, they kind of did a 2-2 split, I think. And we are playing with standard settings, so what you see here is the same settings as if you would be playing on your mobile. When we do see PUBG on PC, though, we usually have a little bit tweak on the settings. So this is not the case. So we don't have, for example, what we have in PC, the land ratio 1 on circle 4 and 8, which removes the water. So it could still be water circles in this game.
Yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. There's not too much water here. But again, we're going to have to see exactly how this happens. Here we go, Ollie Pocket. Ollie Pocket. Why am I struggling with that name? That's her and her squad. Just hanging out there. Here's Casper hanging out in the warehouse. A bit defensive of a position.
Look at these skins, though. The skins in this game is amazing.
Those are nice. Those are nice.
Everybody's just chilling for what it looks like. No one's actually want to take any fights yet. The circle is still very big. There's no actual need, but it is 20 points per kill. That's a lot.
That is. So I ran the numbers on it, and I ran the numbers with the taking what you get like 115 points for getting last place, which is essentially a gimme. So really you get, so it's 110. You really get 390 for getting first place. 390 with 20 points per kill means that kill points have just over 5%, like point-wise.
So it's roughly 20 kills to get the same points as the first place. If that
is a lot. It's been a while since we've seen any event with a point structure like that. Mazzarini and that team, they're still in the blue, a very, very late rotate from them, but they are going to be coming in quite safe. It's still just the first circle, so it's not going to do too much damage to them.
They did a 2-2 split. 2 guys were on west side of South George and 2 guys on the crates. So they might have a lot of meds, and it's no rush. It's the first circle.
10 bandages, 15 first aid kits, 3 med kits on 1 person. So I think it is actually quite safe to say that they're going to be okay on meds. They are perfectly okay. Well, this one only has 2 first aid kits. Maybe they should probably share the load a little bit.
They're probably going to do it when they get inside the circle. But 15 first aids? I didn't even know you could have that many.
And this guy's also got 1, what is that, the syringe?
Well, he does have a level 3 backpack here as well, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the bottom there, you can see...
just 1 first aid kit. This is looking a little more standard.
yeah. So you can see in the bottom there, it shows the backpack, the helmet, and the armor, and the small yellow lines tells you what level they are. So 2 lines, level 2 of that sort.
That was Raptors' team pushing onto a compound, going in by foot. It gives you the time that you need to be able to scout out, see if anyone's hanging out inside, or at least see if anyone's peeking you or not. Maybe they could be sitting around the corner and using third-person camera to their advantage, but no one was in that building, in that compound, so they should be okay. Torty hanging out with the squad here on the coast. If we can pull up the next circle, I don't think we have a real chance to see it just yet, except Ollie.
Ooh.
At least a teammate. Ooh, a couple of shots out, and actually takes a couple of shots from a VSS, I think. Or maybe that was just a couple shots below, but another shot's going to land on Buddy. Buddy, you got to hide behind and heal right now because Torty's dealing a fair bit of damage to you, applying a couple of bandages, but that's already a little bit of damage on the vest. But another fight is also breaking out.
Oh. They're pretty close to each other here, though.
Already 1 player's been down. Vicarian's trying to rotate away, maybe trying to escape. Don't know if they're going to want to get the revive on that. Has to get out of the vehicle, I think, and run away. But already shots still coming down, and that's going to be a 2nd down on that team.
Yeah, they're also running into another team there. Which team is that? Team number 4.
Number 4, I think, is Damien. So, yeah, that's Ramus. This is not looking good for that squad. That's 2 down already. That's 40 points from Mythrain. And now it's just Aru and Ramus 53. Left alive to try and save this game for the squad. But hiding in a bush, solid strategy.
Mythrain's squad was still hunting them, though. They saw that they passed them, and they were still hunting them. They were going towards them. They wanted those kills.
Yeah, I mean, kills are very, very important. So here's the 2nd circle here. It cuts out a lot of water, and it's, even though it is a medium shift on the northwest, as far as where most players were playing, it is actually pretty much a centralization, more or less. It shouldn't really be upsetting many people. In fact, I think the only people who would have to rotate from that would be Hero coming in from Sosnovka Island, and I think they've already rotated into the north of Milta right now. Here's another airdrop, AWM. solid pickup if anyone can get to it. But this is a thing that's going to be consistent across mobile and PC, is that drops, it's an extension to go get them.
Yeah. Well, it is really good. You do get the level 3 helmet and the armor, right? But at the same time, I'm not sure that you want to have these bolt action snipers. So M24, Car 98, AVM, I don't know, because it's much hard to aim here and actually hit those shots.
Yeah, you really need to be, it's a commitment
Yeah.
on having that one single shot, and you want to hit that head or at least hit that body to do some massive damage, depending on which gun you have. It's a commitment.
I mean, if it's unforgiving on the PC version, it's much more unforgiving on the mobile version.
Like, there's a little bit of aim assist in this game, of course, but it only really happens once you start shooting.
Yeah.
Which is why, as you mentioned, the bolt action, it's not exactly worth it. So the AWM, I think, honestly, the AWM would probably be more successful as a shotgun in this game.
You just run up and just shoot them.
Solid strategy, Damien. Sending 2 people in a shack.
Hey,
We'd love to see it. You can actually see on the minimap on the right, it is going to be a 2-2 split.
Yeah.
So if this section, if this split here stays in the circle later on in the game, which it looks like it's going to have to because they've lost a number of tires on those 2 buggies, they could actually deal some good area control around that area, but we're going to have to see. It's pretty central, though, so I can't imagine that's going to be taken out too soon. The second circle is in the process of closing right now. We've seen some pokes already. We've actually seen a couple of deaths, but no squad has been wiped out just yet. But the third circle, that's when the game really starts to kick off, when these 16 teams start to get pushed closer and closer together. Red circle has, luckily enough, missed everyone.
So far.
So far.
So far.
Well, I mean, this particular red circle
Yeah,
is not
okay,
on a single person. Oh, and that's a big shrink and a big shift up to the left. Only 3 squads are in this next circle. A big chunk is taken up by the Osnaya fields as well.
And everybody's going to start rotating. And we also saw it was actually the AWM drop that was inside there that someone might just get lucky and get it.
Ooh, okay. Bro from Tordy's squad. I thought he was going to try and punish that rotation from Ollie's squad a little more, but he's actually backed off right now. They're currently making their own decision. While Ollie already in those vehicles, already on those maneuvers out of there, try and get into the next circle. Spike also doing their own adjustments on their positioning.
A little bit of the normal like PC play. You build up a fortress with the UACs, making sure. If not, you can like save the tires and use them later. But they're also really good as cover in an open area, or you want to have like they did there a wall behind you. You just build up something with them.
This right here, a lot of teams are trying to get these yellows in the middle of the field, but Casper's already here. Raptor, though, him and his squad are pulling up, trying to take a fight here. Raptor, in fact, is driving around while the rest of his team has already engaged Casper, or at least Keen. Previously from Avangard in the middle of a fight. Got a little bit of spray down, but an overcommitment. He's going to get dropped. Chimus throwing out a nade. It's going to be a flash grenade to continue that push through as Revy rounds that corner right into that flash. He's going to have to pull back because of it, but 53 HQ is downed as well. Keen finished off. Raptor swinging in from the opposite side. Can Samsa, though, get a trade? Does get another down before immediately traded himself. I think it's just one player left standing for Casper's defending team, and it's going to be RRR.
Yeah, so 1 versus 3 right now, and Raptor's coming in right there. Just wrapping it up, and that's the first wipe we see.
That is the first team out. It's actually going to be Casper, and it was talked earlier, a pretty stacked team did not fare to the top leaderboard owners.
To be fair, they're
squad.
really good PC players, the teammates of Casper. Seems like they might need to play a little bit more mobile tonight.
Get a little more used to it. Yeah. Ooh, Mazza, though, another rotation into Mithrain. Barrietta and Face Smoker. Taking a lot of shots. It's actually going to be a down from Tordy's squad from across the way. So they're kind of running into a really bad position.
They're just going to try to dip out. I want to see people try to run people over because the vehicles are really easy to drive. And we talked about them being hard to flip. You might actually just try to run people over with.
I don't know. When you're losing a tire like Face Smoker has lost, it may not be the easiest thing.
But he's going straight towards Suntouch team there.
Just trying to find some place to hang out, some place to hold up on.
Oh,
a Groza. Now, this is a good weapon to have in mobile.
Is it? I've never tried it so far.
No, it's pretty good. It's Groza. It's a late game weapon. It's all about being up close and personal, but it's quite good. Pair that with a VSS, and that is my preferred loadout.
Yeah, I like when you breach, you just go full auto and just sprays everything down. It's pretty quite fun to see. So I hope we see some of those actions later on. Some breaching, teams going really head-to-head inside one building.
Lennon hanging out here. He has another team in their sights. It's actually going to be Toby's team, Squad 14 on the bottom left, rolling past Lennon, hanging out just on the edge.
A lot of teams in the red zone right now, by the way.
Yeah, a number of teams in this red zone,
no,
but
it just disappeared.
Yeah, it seemed to have missed everyone here as well. Damien Split is also making its way into the circle. No one's going to be outside of the circle closing. We're going to see where the fourth circle goes. Is it going to be another hard shift? Or is it going to stay relatively central? Is it going to be relatively kind to the teams here? It's going to be another hard shift back the opposite way.
Look at Damon's team. They were split up 2-2. Now they're grouping together, and they got a pretty good chunk of the circle there. They can actually control a lot of it if they play it good now, because most of the teams were outside the circle. They're one of the few teams who actually have a full team inside it already.
This means that the compound that Raptor fought for, they're going to have to leave, and that means they're going to have to push through Mithrain. You can see just over that little hill. Tordy's squad as well is going to have to leave Yaznai, and it's going to be a long rotation for them. Hyro getting back in their vehicles to rotate out.
Did Eric get run over a little bit?
Yeah, hitting your teammate with the vehicle doesn't really do that much damage.
At least the UAC pushed him a little bit.
Yeah,
now, if that was
Oh.
PC and me, I would have get knocked.
Face smoker. A little bit of damage there. Almost got a knock. But they're by themselves. The rest of their teammates are going to be all the way up on the north. Fuzzface is going to get taken down, but through the smoke. So does Rezu. So that's 2 down for the FF squad.
That was a long shot as well, and they're pulling up right now. They know they got 2 knocks. They want to push on this.
Everyone is inside the smoke trying to get the revives as quickly as possible because they hear the vehicles pulling up, peeking up over that ridge. 10K Days, as well as Mithrain himself, trying to spray through that smoke. Fake here's the rotation around from Nursey, but it's going to get taken out, and it's all up to Luke, and that is everyone downed?
Yeah,
all right, there we go. They finally get finished.
Wow, that was a nice execution from Mithrain's team. They get a knock, someone went for the revive, get another knock, and then they just went for it.
Ooh, it's going to actually be 2 downs here for Toby. Trying to get a third there, a little bit of a spray down. Wants to pick up the teammate that was dropped, but is currently in a 1 versus 2. Has the nade out, going to throw it. Trying to get behind the tree, but takes a lot of damage and actually gets taken out. So that's going to be the second squad out. Toby unable to clutch it out for his team, and this is going to give squad number 1 an opportunity to get the revives and stay as 4.
So Suntouch team here, pretty close to Mazzarini here. It seems like Mazzarini's team wants to get closer and try to push through Suntouch team. Oh, look at this.
A lot of people fighting here for the Heaven compound. Mithrain spraying down from above onto the attackers from the north. Tortellini's squad also taking shots onto the west side because we have squad 12, which is going to be Lennon's squad, trying to come in and approach the compound.
It's a free squad action going on right here.
I think maybe even 4 squad.
4 or 5.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
Going on?
Raptor trying to take some shots through. Discovered Rax. Trying to get it down onto him. A little bit of return fire isn't going to hit, but he doesn't commit too much down onto that field because he knows of all the threats currently surrounding him. Lennon trying to get a nice spray down himself.
Gets a knock there.
Torty gets down. Lennon trying to peek out through the window, trying to find more engagements. Onto the multiple squads here, all attacking for this 1-1 tiny compound in the circle, but it's a very impactful compound. It's a huge chunk of the circle because the next circle was a hard shift onto the north.
Not only if you get that, it's like one of the few compounds. I think it's the only compound who's in, but you also have the high ground, which means that you can control a lot if you have it for yourself. But as you can see, a lot of teams want this, so everybody's clashing into each other there. Look at this Suntouch. Yeah. They just wiped Mazzarini's team there.
Yeah, Mazzarini, they're going to go out. I think, no, at least a number of members. I think they're still alive. We still have 13 squads here. But Lennon bogged the, what was it, the Bloodhound of the squad. Does get fully flushed. But Nursey with the third-person camera gets a sight onto Arksy and gets it down onto that.
Now, Mithrain's team already got 9 kills as well, as you can see in the top left corner. That's a lot of points. 180 points so far.
Harushit here giving a revive on the teammate, has a smoke to support that endeavor as well. This is actually a pretty safe place to get a revive because you need a nade to take them out, but nades could easily roll down that hill.
But look at this. Lennon's team, they might have sight on them over there.
Yeah.
Also, Rasmus' team as well. And I think we saw Santach's team were kind of rotating in towards them, a little bit southwest of them right now.
Arxie was forced off of that revive because of a push from Mr. Nursey. Looks like Harushit was actually finished revive. It was just very, very low health. Almost got taken out a second time. Was able to first aid up. But they're still on the low ground of that engagement. But a fight here in the field. Ollie Pocket squad gets taken out. They're going to go out in 12th. And so Suntouch, they're going to stay alive in this. But the engagement goes on in the Heaven compound. Mythrain distracted by multiple sides. Squad, Torji squad up on the north. And then Hyro squad there on the south.
Look at the skin.
It's a beautiful skin. It allows you to breathe.
It's on a May model.
Yeah, and?
I would think that is more for a female, actually.
I think it's perfectly acceptable to wear it for no matter what gender identity you...
Hey, you can wear whatever you want. No one's judging.
So there's currently 3 squads here in one section. Like basically it's one compound, even though they're kind of separating in 2. We got Rax, I think he's a little bit off in the distance, but there's Hyro squad, a few members there, and 2 other squads hanging out. But Spike, him and his squad, they've continued to move these vehicles closer and closer, further and further into the circle, keeping them alive. And I don't think they've lost any tires, so it's a pretty safe endeavor for them. They all have their own vehicle, and they can use it for cover up in the late game. And they're going to need it, though, because the next circle has hard shifted onto the Heaven compound still. Kinris from Hyro's squad peeking out the side, gets a nice spray down. I don't think he gets a down, though. Harushit pushing up.
Slides down a little bit. We still have 11 teams alive, actually. That's a lot of teams for this small circle that's going to be here now.
A lot of people are hiding out in these compounds is the thing. Mythrain, 2 downs. Oh, no, it's just 1 down, but a lot of other players in low health as well. Mythrain able to heal up. Nursey needs to do the same, and it's going to be revive on their 4th player, so they're going to stay as 4, and you can see on that minimap just how useful this compound is.
Oh, that's a tag there, right?
I think it was, but it wasn't a full down just yet. Kinris from Hyro squad still going to be taking their shots through the smoke. Wants to delay any sort of push from these squads in onto their position. Wants to deal as much damage as possible into the late game. 23 alive now.
Arxie there taking some shots. I don't know from where, actually. He's kind of exposed there, and he's the last man up for a team, so he needs to try to survive here.
Yeah, but he's also got to get into the circle. Only the southern half, the high ground half. Oh, he's taking some shots, though, and gets a nice down and a nice finish. I believe that was the last member of Lennon's squad.
Yeah.
Because we're now just down to 9 squads left. But he did give his position away. He wants to continue to push into the circle, though, but that DP may be waiting for him just over that ridge. Damien, they're in on the side. It was hard shift onto them, but Spike, they're going to have to continue to push themselves, and they want to take the southeast low ground.
I like that. That's really good positioning from them. They also have the vehicles.
This is Jansen from Rax's squad just hanging out in the grass. Not spotted at all, but ooh, that's the final down for yet another squad. We're now 6 squads left.
A lot of people dying to the circle. As we mentioned, it's getting very cramped here now. But a lot of teams are actually taking some good covers here, using the vehicles.
The next circle has continued to center up on the high ground Heaven compound. Hyro, it's only 2 players left for that squad, but if they're able to manage their angles well, they could deal a lot of damage, because once any of these teams, Suntouch, Spike, once any of them try and push up over that hill, over that basically like the only thing, the ridge blocking the cover, it's going to be open shots while they push up onto that building.
But at the same time, it's going to be hard for Hyro's team to actually hold that by themselves. If people try to push up and they don't get spotted, if they use some smokes, they can push up, get different angles. Look at Spike's.
I love this by Spike. I love this by Spike. They're swinging over onto the eastern side to have a 2-pronged attack. Or if they all just decide to attack from that one angle, it does still hide them from the western side and the northern side, which they know is occupied by at least 1, if not more, squads.
Because one thing with the PUBG Mobile is that you actually see on the minimap where people are shooting from. So you can actually just look at that and see, okay, they're over to the west there. There's some team to the northwest. We don't want to go for that. We want to take the east side. It's completely free.
Absolutely. Mythrain Up on the north side. Quite close to another squad. That
That's
nade,
a
I
good
think
nade.
it did go in,
Oh!
and he gets a nice down on a Kinres. Is the second follow-up going to go through? A couple of nades already by teammates, and then a second
Let's
one
see.
from Walker as well. Mithrain does get it down himself onto Mr. Nerthsey. Multiple kills still coming through, down to just 5 squads, and Spike with that down on a Kinres are pushing up. They weren't able to get the full kill onto that. Was able to crawl in and get revived by the teammate, but this does give them the opportunity to push up to the building itself. And now they're inside the circle.
There's still 4 men up as well. That's huge to be in a late game like this. SunTouch team also got 4 men up, but Larry is knocked and bleeding out right now. If they don't get him up quick, they can't get him up. Because I think this is the last circle we're seeing here.
It is. It's just going to go to the dead center, I believe, which means that all these squads on the outer ring, it's going to be a hard task for them. But as you said, even though Hyro, they got 2 people in the center, this may be too many people for them to try and wipe out. So there could be a couple of windows for these teams on the edge to find as they push through. They're just going to be crawling in. SunTouch.
I like what SunTouch team is doing. They have Reels on the north side there, while they have a free-man stack on the west side. So Reels can actually play sort of a spoiler role and let the others push up, and then he starts shooting at people that shoots at his teammates.
That's what you get when you have multiple people in the late game. You're able to use them as their own resource. Ooh, does Doc? He does. He spots Reels, gets the spray down. Can't fully get the flush. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
It is finished off by Kinres.
But at the same time, SunTouch team makes it up because of the smokes and the distraction from Reels. So they're actually in the compound now, or in the house, up close.
Yeah, they're at least on the sides of it. I like this split by Spike. Kinra is going to drop a nade over the side, see if he can't land a lucky explosion, and it's not going to connect because they're on the opposite side of the building. But the blue is currently pushing in. Jansen has to push in. The last member of Rax getting up close and personal with a lot of other teammates. SunTouch does get down. Jansen actually going to the dead center is going to wait for everyone else to fight it out on the edge. It's already going to be another down on someone inside the compound.
Spike's team is just, they're watching all the fighting going on here. They don't want to be a part of it right now. They want everybody to get tagged down before they get up close and personal. Oh, he's going to jump in.
Nice vault into the spray down. Gets the finish kill and gets a second knock there. Doc, though, heard this action happening. Maybe aware that there are players right below him, but he's too distracted by the other members of Spike on this side. The spray down gets a nice down on a KKI.
And Chris is also still up, and I think he's holding from inside. No, they're actually both on the balcony right now. And it's only one way out to the balcony, and that's through the door.
Ooh, a spot with a third-person camera. Walker gets a little bit of damage on a full down. A second commitment by a teammate and pushes him in the blue. Is going to get a down. Another down for Kinres. Has to reload that DP before he commits further. But he wants to finish that kill. Doesn't want to allow a revive to happen. And he is going to push down just in the right time to drop 2 from Spike. The 2 remaining members of Hyro continue to stay alive. And it's now a 2-on-2-on-2, I believe, with the final 3 teams.
It looks like it. Hyro's team has actually been keeping this compound really good. Oh, that's a good headshot through the window there.
Able to find that connection. Still on the balcony. Still controlling a lot of the space.
Where's SunTouch team? Larry's just outside there. Wait, does Spike's team have 3 guys? No, so, okay, Larry here as well. No, yeah, Larry's the last one for SunTouch team. Is that an 8? No.
It is going to stop the revive. It was just a flash. They didn't know it was because it all sounds the same, but because it stopped the revive, that means it's an even further commitment for them to finish that out. And Kinres is pushing forward, trying to use this to his advantage. Definitely hears the footsteps. Tried to pre-fire that, but Kinres, he was already on the trigger. Doc at the same time wraps around the other end, and they split off from each other, but they knew exactly where the final players were. And how many kills is that? That's
13.
13 kills for their very first game for Hyro's team. Certainly the favorites, and even though they only had 2 up until the very end in the late game, that's all they needed.
Yeah, I didn't think they would be able to hold that by themselves for that long. We talked about how hard it is because you can't just like run around like on PC and just snap with your your aim and stuff like that. It's just kind of hard to like rotate around and look through every angle, making sure nobody pushes up to you. But they did a really good job.
Well, the thing is that a lot of squads actually were able to make it up to them.
Yeah.
They were able to make up to the wall.
Everybody was fighting each other and not fighting Halo's team.
All they needed to do was control that staircase.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. Everyone was a lot of other teams, and it was mainly Spike and SunTouch, those 2 squads that were going out at it. But they were clashing down in the bottom floor, Hyro's 2 players, they didn't need to worry about that at all. It was all about the staircase for them, and they knew that no one would be pushing up on them, or at least they were comfortable knowing that. So they just had the balcony and did a good job of controlling all the space around them, everything else.
Yeah, I thought Spike's team was going to do really good on this. Well, they kind of did. They did get us 3rd place with 6 kills. But I thought they were going to take the win because they had 4 man up and they were just spectating while everybody else was fighting, so they could choose when and where to engage.
Yeah, no, it was the fact that they had that 2-2 split on the Spikes team.
Yeah.
They had the 2 players on the northern, the smaller compound, which you'd think would be a really good sightline, a really good crossfire, but it was the balcony control from Hyro once again. That squad just constantly keeping them pinned down. They weren't able to do anything from them, but that is going to be game 1 in the books. We're going to quickly toss it over to the desk where Tanya is going to be interviewing the winners of game number 1.
That's right. I'm here with Hyro and Chris. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for asking. I hope you're also good.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me, how does the first chicken dinner taste like?
Pretty tasty. Yeah.
First victory on the first game of the tournament. Does it feel special, or you expected this result?
Of course it feels special because it's also the first official tournament game we had, professional tournament game we had in PUBG Mobile, so together. And it is very special, of course, for us.
So what is the secret of your success? How did you prepare for the tournament?
There is no secrets. You just work hard. That's it.
Maybe you have some different answer. What is the chemistry like in the team?
We have a little issue with the communication because 2 of our members are not speaking too well English. So he's kind of translating, and yeah, we're making it work. But yeah, it's nothing more.
Maybe you have something to say to the fans. Maybe someone supports you. You're streaming these games right now. So what do you want to say to your subscribers?
I love them. They are not my subscribers. All of them are my friends, to be honest, because we interactively communicating with them on the streams all the time, and we are talking, and lots of them are already my close friends. So I love them all. I truly love them all, and I appreciate that they bring us over here. You know what I mean? Because we are here just because of them. So I need their support until the rest of my life. So I love them all.
This is so sincere. Thank you very much. Maybe you have something to add to this.
Nothing special, no.
Thank you very much. Over to you, James.
That's right. Thank you very much, Tanya. And congratulations, of course, to Hyro and team for being able to be victorious in that first game, as we saw them being able to control our Heaven compound as we know it over on PC. Joining me on the desk, as always, here we will have Mr. Porosaurus and Mustache Dave. Gentlemen, what a game to start things off. Quite a lot of action. A lot of people surviving towards the very end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how when you did the North American one, it was very violent and bloody early on. Well, this time, you know, European players playing a little bit more safe, a little bit more for the late game. We made it to the 4th circle with 15 teams up, 58 players still alive, and that's not something that we were expecting to see. I thought we'd see a little bit more scrapping early.
I mean, that goes to show how serious this event is. This isn't like the qualifiers, this is the finals. So all these teams trying to do everything in their power to make it to that late game, get as many points as possible, maybe try to avoid early game fights.
Yeah, I saw a few more parallels, I feel like, from PC to mobile compared to, say, our North American counterpart as well. Again, as you mentioned, only qualifiers, so not maybe as, like, proficient in that regard. But a lot of vehicle control, multiple teams taking a lot of vehicles compared to just the one, which is nice because even later on in the game, we saw those forts being set up when you don't have as much cover to be able to kind of keep you alive.
Yeah, and especially in that last circle, we saw how handy those vehicles came in. I mean, you had everybody kind of playing the hills surrounding Heaven, not wanting to enter that line of fire of Mithrain, who was just dominating from the top there for a while. Ending up coming in 6 with 10 kills, but here's some of the fighting we saw play out throughout the match, and that was a great wipe on the Fuzzface squad there by Mithrain.
That's right. Let's take a look at these highlights brought to you by Samsung Galaxy Note 9. Dave, what really stood out to you?
Back to that Mithrain play, I liked what they did there. They got one knock onto Fuzzface's squad, and then immediately they started wrapping around him, swarming, even though there were smokes going off, reses being happened. they didn't hold back, right? They went in, they got the kill, got the squad wipe. I believe Buzzface's team went out 15th place there.
Yeah,
correct.
That's two pretty big name squads going out really early there, and
there you go, still fragging out, yeah.
But you got to be feeling pretty good about your predictions here. There's a reason Mustache Dave is on analyst desk, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Calling Hyro as his team to watch, and they come in with the big win.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the hard shifts definitely playing in their favor there, and in particular this compound. I believe it was Chris who made the push out. And above him was Dosh on right here, overlooking that whole entire time. That compound just so strong in this endgame circle.
Absolutely, that's the power of it, right? We saw 5 teams towards some of those later circles really contesting that position because of how strong it is, and you saw at the very end just how strong it is.
Well, and we saw some pretty heads-up play there coming from Dosh, throwing the flashbang, making the I think it was the boys from Spike, thinking that was a frag, so they pulled off the res, allowing his teammate time to go and pressure that and be able to finish off the kill. So really heads-up play coming in from these guys from Team Hyro.
I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm over here. I don't have anything to say. I mean, I told you so. I'm not going to say that. But and they only had 2 members there in the end, and they played it phenomenal.
Yeah.
They played it phenomenal.
There is part of me that really doesn't like that you got that prediction so spot on.
I'm here with you.
I want to give you a high five, but you said no high fives.
Well, let's do
all right,
fist
all right.
bumps.
Fist bumps. I like high fives better. Hey, if I'm the right, hey, high five. All right, thank you.
This is what I have to deal with. And then beyond that, looking at how some of these players were able to play, I think one player that really stood out to me was Arxy. A-R-X-Y.
Arxy. Oh, yeah, Arxy from Torty.
His gun control, we briefly saw it there in those highlights as well, but you can see that he has proficiency when it comes to mobile, because that gun control was phenomenal.
Yeah, there was a couple of players that we saw that had the M4s on full spray down, and were still able to just control that recoil really, really well. And, I mean, that's kind of the difference of when you're getting into these last-minute, late-game, close-range fights, having that spray control.
Spray control. We saw it from S-Walkers as well. After they threw that grenade, they actually took down one of the members from Hyro, and then they pushed that compound up on Heaven. Weren't successful enough to, take it, but they did get, 3rd place there. So they were able to make it to the end.